What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Happy Monday, by the way. Hopefully you guys got a good work week ahead of you guys. In this video here, we got Ishiyama's fusion starting up. We got his schedule ready to go. Let's take a quick look at it, break it down, and see how we can navigate it the best, most efficient way possible so that we can ensure that you can get this fusion if you plan to do so. So let's jump right into it. Alright guys, so here is the fusion schedule here for Ishiyama the Immovable. He's an HP based damage dealer. We did a showcase on him over the weekend. He wasn't overly impressive for me personally in terms of damage or just overall usefulness, but he is a fragment champion, so it makes it a little bit easier to acquire, and also you can save him for future champion chase points or CVC points if you need it. Also, taking into consideration, any new champion in this game moving forward has to be considered for hard faction wars. Right now we don't really know what hard faction wars looks like, but we know that's one of the bigger pieces of content that might drop in the near future. So any new champion in the game, we have to consider hard faction wars. So maybe he'll be useful there. He does bring a 2-turn AoE fear, which could be good for waves. His overall damage seems mediocre, but okay. Not terrible, but okay. All right, so let's bring up this fusion calendar here. We are on the stylus. We got it working here. And yeah, let's take a quick look here. We got 20 tournament points. We don't count the tournaments. And then so we have 110 total points allowable in this fusion. Usually they give you 115 when they're a little bit more generous, which means you can skip 15 fragments worth. So in this case, we can only skip 10 fragments worth. Now there's a very diverse amount of points you can get from each event, ranging from 5 up to 15, and in some cases up to 25 if you win the tournament. We can't really count tournament wins because it's not really consistent way of doing a schedule, so we won't count tournament wins. All right, so let's quickly look at some of the pain points here in this fusion. So first of all, we look at the summon events. So first we have the summon rush here for 15 points, and we have a champion chase event here for 15 points as well. This fusion does start on Monday, so even though if you're not in a good position to do the fusion right now, you might be better in a couple days. So keep that in mind. It is a pretty standard 2-week fusion here. Nothing funky about that. We just had 2x Ancient event. And we did have 2x Sacred Shard before then. So that means this champion chase will be a 2x Void event. So keep that in mind, guys. 2x Void event. Okay, and that's going to be during a champion chase. Void shards on a 2x event on a champion chase is decent amount of points, so it might be worth considering here. The reason why I highlight these two events first is usually those are some of the more expensive events for people, so it's one of the events that more people are likely to skip. So in any case, the summon rush and the champion chase likely will be broken up into 5 and 10 fragments worth, and depending on how much resources you actually have in your stash, you'll probably determine which event you're going to go for. So obviously with champion chase, it gives you a little bit more flexibility on how you want to complete it with various amount of shards. You want to not use the sacred shards, of course, off of normal rates. Even boosted rates, you probably want to save the sacred shards from champion chase and save it for summon rush events. But if you have a lot of mystery shards and all that, that's really good for a champion chase event and less so for the summon rush event. So it's kind of up to what resource you have available. Keep in mind that the chase event is also, you know, almost 2 weeks away, so it gives you a little bit more time. So theoretically, you could skip a portion of the summon rush or a portion of the champion chase. Unfortunately, it's only allowable to skip 10, so it's a little bit annoying this time. Usually, like I said, with the 15 skip, you can full skip one of the summon events, but in this case, you're probably forced to at least get the bottom threshold of the summon rush points or the bottom threshold of the champion chase points. And like I said, the event that you participate in, it will depend on what resource you had. Keep in mind, we also just had a 1+1 Sacred Shard event, which means it's less likely for us to have another 1+1 Sacred Shard event coming up, which means maybe doing using Sacred Shards that you have remaining for the Summon Rush might be worth it. Less reason to save it. Just a thought. Something else to consider is we do have personal reward CVC right here. So CVC, it's going to happen. Not too much is happening for CVC. On day 1, Usually it's going to be a skip day, no dungeon diver on day 1 with the dragon tournament. So you're just going to use your daily energy. Don't use your stockpile of energy right away on day 1. You want to wait until the dungeon diver opens before committing your energy. So usually for these dungeon tournaments, they're about 2,300 points. Total energy spend. Same thing with the ice golem. Same thing with Fire Knight and Spider. And then here is the secondary pain point here. We have the Dungeon Diver 1, Dungeon Diver 2, and then Dungeon Diver 3. So Dungeon Divers, they're usually about 3,700 points for the 3-day Dungeon Diver. 3,700 points translates to about 5.5k energy on a hard 10, so 5,500 energy. So as you can clearly see, the Dragon Tournament here at 2,300 energy, even if you wait for the Dungeon Diver, it doesn't fully finish it, which means you can probably overlap a little bit of Ice Golem, for example. You know, overlap a little bit with the Dungeon Diver. But obviously, even completing the Ice Golem at 2,300 won't allow you to do the Dungeon Diver in its completion, meaning that you have to put some extra energy somewhere to finish off this Dungeon Diver. So this is kind of why Dungeon Divers are kind of painful. You're just kind of spending energy in a short amount of time on things that you know, maybe don't want to really spend it on, of course. Moving on, we do have the champion training event during Dragon, Ice Golem, and Dungeon Diver. So it's a good opportunity to kind of triple dip. You can do campaign, get some dungeon diving points and training points. Obviously, if you have champions that can solo farm or dual farm Dragon and Ice Golem, you can throw some food in there as well. And that's going to help you pick up some more points for more events, making it a little bit easier for you guys. We got Classic Arena tournaments. These are easy freebie points. We got 2 of them here, so that's good to see. These gear enhancement events, 3 of them. Gear enhancement events, 3 of them. It's pretty standard now. Same thing with the 3 dungeon divers. 15 to 20 million to finish each one of those events. Usually you don't need to start with 15 million when the fusion starts. So if you're sitting on like 1 million right now, it's not the end of the world. You definitely just farm up your, you know, grinding, your dungeon diving and stuff. Whatever silver you make, you bring it into the gear enhancement event. Best way to complete these events is to basically level up a lot of items up to small amounts. So obviously, the lower the amount, the more items you need. Generally, leveling to 8 and then selling will net you about net even. So you don't really lose or gain that way. It just requires a lot of pieces of gear. All right, so moving on into the middle of the week, we got the champion training again. We got hooked up with Spider here. And yeah, again, another 5,500 dungeon diving event here. And you don't really have much to go off of. You kind of have a bit of nothing here. And then you have the champion training with the Spider going into the dungeon diver. So this dungeon diver is going to be very, very painful. You're basically throwing away, you're not really throwing away, but you're using 3,000 energy towards the dungeon diver alone during this, you know, squiggle period. Or you can just wait for Spider to come and then just spend 5,500 energy in the Spider plus training, which can be viable as well for some extra silver because you're going to use it for this gear enhancement event. And then in the back half of the fusion, we have the Fire Knight by itself with a Dungeon Diver, another 5,500 energy. So that's going to go straight into the Fire Knight for 5,500. And then all the resulting silver will go right here. All right, so as I'm talking about this right now, I already see this fusion being a bit of a pain in the butt, mainly because we're spending energy kind of without double or triple dipping, meaning that we can't clear multiple events with the same amount of energy. So for example, this middle dungeon diver, you're kind of like spending an extra couple thousand energy just to complete the dungeon diver alone. You're not really doing anything else. I mean, you could throw it into campaign, I guess, after Spider. And then the last dungeon diver is going to be even worse, where it's just only Fire Knight alone. There's nothing really else going on. Now, keep in mind, we don't know anything about his soul event. Usually it's Hero's Path or a Deck of Fate. Sometimes if it's a really good champion, it's going to be a Titan event. In this case, I don't see this guy being a Titan event worthy, champion for a soul, so no one's going to participate in that. He's likely going to be, like a Deck of Fate, Hero's Path type of event just to get his soul. It could be, maybe a winner take all in a special, special training event or something for his soul. In that case, that is probably the best option for him. And I think his soul event will probably land somewhere here. Because there's a champion training tournament right here. And then there's no other training event happening in the next foreseeable couple of days. I could see a champion training related special event and then his main prize being a soul in the near the end of his fusion. The other thing that probably could happen in this period, so basically the weekend after the first weekend of the fusion, I could see a, you know what, if I was playing, I would put a guaranteed void legendary right here. I would put a guaranteed void legendary right here, guys, because you have people with the void shards would probably, if it's good enough, people will spend the void shards here, and then you have a 2x void event for champion chase coming up on the weekend. I think that's a pretty good double whammy there. They haven't been giving out too many of the void Legos. They put one in a deck of fate for Khan the branch breaker or whatever. That was a couple months ago, not too long ago actually. But that could be an option here. Definitely something will happen here after the first weekend. My hope is that it's a 1+1, an extra ancient shard event, because my ancient mercy is very high and I want to use it up quickly. But I would imagine they would put some kind of big bait event here so that it messes people up for the champion chase if you guys go for it. Personally, I have a lot of void shards. I'm not really close to mercy, so pulling during a 2x for this champion chase isn't overly enticing, to be honest. But it might be something that I do if this summon rush just doesn't have any cool events to go along with it. Like, it's probably going to be, just a progressive event. And if this summon rush is not more enticing, maybe I'll skip it and I'll go for the champion chase since I have extra void shards. Something else that hasn't happened in a while is actually 2x primals. 2x primals could also land here as well during this kind of lull period after the weekend. We haven't had that event in over 6 weeks now, and that's something that I've been looking forward to as well, since I'm at 198 mercy towards mercy, sorry. So, my next couple of void shards will probably give me a mythical champion. But yeah, overall, I think this fusion is moderate difficulty. It's definitely on the expensive side. In terms of total energy spend, I would expect this fusion to cost closer to 20,000 energy over a 2-week period, which is on the higher side. If you want to, perfect efficiency, a bunch of these events without much wasted energy, I guess, lots of double dipping and stuff, you can probably get away with as low as like maybe 16,000 energy, but about 20,000 energy. So you guys try to work that out yourselves. Obviously you have 2 weeks to get that. In terms of shard cost, I mean, like I said, it's going to be 2x voids for champion chase in 2 weeks time. So you have some time for that. But you do need to spend some shards to get at least the first part of the summon rush. So you at least need 5 points from the summon rush, and then you still need to complete every single one of the events as well as the champion chase at the end. So I would say this fusion is moderate difficulty. Yeah, it's not easy. The schedule, it kind of works, but there's a lot of lull periods where you're going to be spending extra energy just to complete singular events, mainly these dungeon divers, which are big pains in the butt. If you have the capacity to win one of these tournaments, that would definitely save you a lot of pain. For example, if you can win the champion training event, you can skip 2 events, and man, skipping both dungeon divers here, the second and third one, would be absolutely massive. But winning these tournaments is not something you can bank on. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Ishiyama, the immovable, he's not going to be moving a lot of needles for a lot of people. I mean, if he's the best you got, then he's going to be okay. He doesn't bring super relevant debuffs to a lot of content. The fear is okay. It is on a 2-turn, which is pretty nice. And he does have an irresistible debuff, send back, which can be pretty good. So it forgoes accuracy in his kit, which is pretty cool. But of course, if you want him to land his fear, then you need accuracy, right? So it's a little bit of a, if you do, then he's not going to hit that hard. But if you don't, then he's not going to land the fears. But then his kit kind of helps it out a little bit because every second debuff he lands will be irresistible. So it's kind of interesting. Personally, I would not build him up with accuracy and just let his passive do all the work. Let him try to do damage. He's in a good faction. You know, you got Harima, you got Ninja in there as well. You got Arashi, which is another spirit-based, HP-based damage dealer in the same faction. So a little bit redundant for him, personally speaking. He might be useful in, you know, some stages in Centranos maybe, but I don't think he's going to move the needle on a lot of people. And I think people's general sentiment is that they're probably going to skip this guy. People might be feeling a little bit antsy since they did skip, you know, last month's fusion, Lysanthier. I do think Lysanthier is probably better than this guy for most people, because Lysanthier brings, you know, good, solid, consistent debuffs for Hydra. And Lysanthier can chip in some damage as well. So I do think Lysanthier is probably better than Ishiyama, but I don't know, up to you guys what you guys want to do with this guy. He is a damage dealer, no doubt, but I think he's kind of mid in kind of everything. His intangibles, like his fear and his debuff sendback, is kind of what makes him a little bit more unique, which is a little bit more enticing to players to pick him up. But I don't know if that's enough reason for most people to pick him up. So anyways, guys, sorry, that's going to be it for the video. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about this fusion plan, what you guys think about Ishiyama. Are you guys going to go for him? Personally, I'm going to go for him just because I go for all fusions. I have an endgame account. I have resources. It's not going to be difficult for me as long as I have the time and the resources. And I'll be updating my progress along the way. So hopefully you guys stay tuned for some of that. But that's going to be it. Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching till the end, and I'll see you guys in the next one.